As New Zealanders, we need to stand up. As Cantabrians, we need to stand up, and this is what we'll do. We'll make change together. So thank you very much, everybody.
Hey, hell no, you can't have our H2O.
Hey, ho.
You can't have our H2O. Hey, hell no, you can't have our H2O.
Hey, ho, ho, you can't have our H2O. Hey, ho, ho.
I haven't seen so many people since 8 years ago when we built the cairn, and it's a lovely thing. All credit to you guys. You can't have a protest without people, right?
As a recent NASA study shows that 21 of the 37 largest aquifers in the world are at risk of collapse. By 2050, it's estimated that 1.8 billion of the world's population won't have adequate access to groundwater to meet their daily needs. The water mining industry, and this is a fact, is in a growth phase. It's a very small industry at the moment, but it's growing with 10% year-on-year annual growth, and it's committed to destroying community water supplies so that when you buy your water, you buy it from a corporate out of a bottle. One of the communities that's under threat at the moment is one in Whakatane, Otakere. And there's been a campaign launched by a local group up there to challenge some bottling consents that have been applied for by a Chinese bottling company, Cresswell. You might recall there was stuff on the news a while ago about how New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, an arm of the New Zealand government, had actually introduced these Chinese bottling companies to this opportunity, as they call it, at Otakere to take water from the aquifers there. So we're supporting this group called Sustainable Otakere. We'd love it if you were able to support their Give a Little page, because they have just been turned down for funding by the Environmental Legal Assistance Fund, which again is an arm of the government. So they're struggling to maintain their proceedings against the grant of these consents. It's very important that we stand with other communities throughout our country who are also under the same sort of threats that we are. Okay?
Look, it's always troubled me that if we hold a statement to be true that no one owns the water, then how can anyone sell it, particularly in plastic bottles? But very, very sadly, this is the nature of our current, and I would say outdated, mindset that we live in. We treat the earth as if it's a resource for us to dominate, allocate, and use as we like, as if we own it. It's easy to get pissed off when the issue is framed as foreigners stealing our resources. And it's important to remember that the bottling plants are taking a tiny fraction of what 10 big dairy farms are taking. Bottling plants, water mining, and intensive farming are both just tiny little pieces of the same big system, a system of extraction and exploitation that is sucking the life out of the earth and cooking it.
What our case is about is that ECAN, in our view, didn't follow the right process. It actually has rules that require anyone who wants to take water from our aquifers to apply for a water consent, and it actually provides that no more water is to be allocated from the Christchurch West Melton Aquifer. So when Cloud Ocean rocked up to ECAN wanting to take water for water bottling, ECAN had a problem, because of course they wanted to grant them those consents because the government had put them in power to facilitate economic development, so that was part of their agenda. But they had a problem. So the way they got around it, in our view, was to bend the rules. They decided that instead of requiring Cloud Ocean to apply for a new consent to take water, they'd simply allow them to apply for a right to use water for water bottling and then amalgamate it with another consent that had already been existed for industrial uses. In our view, it was a completely illegitimate process. That's why we're challenging ECAN. They're bending their own rules, in our view, to facilitate water mining in Christchurch.
What if we saw water as a living being? What if we didn't just isolate the water cycle, but saw water as part of a living, breathing system that is in itself a living entity? The whole of nature is a living system. Every little piece is integral to the whole. It's just like your body. If you get cut and some of your blood lands on the ground, is it alive? Was it alive 10 minutes before that? Maybe we don't have a very good definition of aliveness. Water is the blood of the planet, transporting nutrients, regulating temperature, sustaining every other cell in a constant cyclical journey. And we are all part of that journey.
Do we really want to encourage governments and councils to be making money from water mining? No! When you hear people say, let's just charge these water bottlers to take our water, all it means is that there's now an economic incentive for them to take more of it.
No! And what about the plastic?
This is not the answer.
What if we had an economic system that instead of driving ecological destruction was the bedrock of regeneration? Of nature, communities, mental health, and waterways. An economic system which rewarded good stewardship and fatally taxed exploitive extraction and waste. In an economic system like that, you wouldn't make a cool $4 billion putting water into plastic bottles. These are the things we need to think about, because the IPCC has told us we've got 12 years to make unprecedented changes if we want to allow our kids to grow up. There's a massive global movement building at the moment to bring about real action on climate change. And I hope there's going to be this many people out on March the 15th supporting this full strike for climate. Because both of these issues are symptoms of the same blimmin' problem. Treating the earth as a resource for us to dominate, allocate, and control as we like, as if we own it. Western culture no longer sees its daughters this way. We have a similar mind shift to make with nature before it's too late. She needs your attention and your action. Nō reira, kia kaha, kia manawa nui.
So we're being very clear. In our view, the solution is that we need to prohibit water mining. It's very simple. We need council to ban the taking and export of water mining from our aquifers, and we need the government to direct local councils to make it clear that they need to prioritise water for communities, not for corporates.
Today we have shown the government and we've shown ECAN
that they can't bully us and they can't push us around, and they certainly can't take our water off us.